Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. Here on Invisible Condition, we understand that life can be tough sometimes. you know, Depending on the condition that you live with, or that your family member, or your loved one lives with. Man, hey, I'm 7 brain surgeries in. It can be a little dicey sometimes. I get it. The other thing is though is there is always hope. We love to live in the land of hope around here in the Pearson house. And so if it's been a while for you, if you're feeling hopeless, if you're feeling like, yeah, where is the hope? I haven't felt that in a while. Reach out, join us here. It's much better, much better. Hope is a beautiful thing, and I want you to live in that world too. So join us. Now, I want to talk for just a second about our nonprofit arm, which is called Hydro with Hope. That is the nonprofit side of the show. And that organization is designed to help people with the condition that I was born with, basically, called hydrocephalus. Hydro for hope, hydro with hope, hydrocephalus. And we work with families and individuals that are living with the condition, and we have a journal that we'd like to put in the hands of everybody with hydrocephalus, that just kind of walks them through that experience that can sometimes be scary of oh boy, here comes the next brain surgery, because those can pop up anytime. It's you get kind of short notice on that sometimes, and so it can be dicey. And so we want to help. And so I want to talk to you. I want to walk you through that, spend time with you, and walk through that with you and your family if you need it. And that journal is a really good tool as well. And so the point is, we've gotten to a point now that a few years in, we have gotten to a point that we're wanting to do so much that we are running short on time and resources. And so we are expanding our board, and we are, if you want to donate, we would appreciate it. Hydrowithhope.com is where you can go to do that. And if you know anybody that might want to partner with us as a financial partner, or partner with us as a board member, man, would I love to talk to you, because we are expanding like crazy right now. And so just shoot me an email at invisiblecondition@e360tv.com, and I would love to talk to you about that. And same thing with advertising. This is TV, and we have advertisers, we have sponsors, we have some amazing people that have partnered with us. If you know somebody that would be a great fit for that, and you or you yourself are a business owner that wants to get the word out to our amazing growing audience, I'd love to talk to you about that too. So shoot me an email. Let's jump on a discovery call together on Zoom and talk about it. So, all right. Now, I want to tell you about our guest today. John Ulsh he was driving home with his wife and kids from after a swim meet, and they were hit head on in a collision that nearly took his life. And man, those head-on collisions can sometimes do that. John says that the crash shattered my body, but it didn't break me. I love that. I've had a lot of stuff that felt like it shattered something, but it didn't break me either. So I love that. John was given less than a 3% chance of survival, but after 45 plus surgeries and years of recovery, he chose not to be defined by all of that and moved forward. Instead, he rebuilt his life with purpose, and now helps others rise through pain, setbacks, and uncertainty, and rise above it. John is now a resilience coach, speaker, and author of the USA Today best-selling book, The Upside of Down. Love that title. Man, some people have some really catchy titles of their books. I've never gotten that catchy with mine. Let's bring John on and kick this show off here. John, thank you so much for being here, man. This is such a cool thing. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
This is awesome. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm gonna just audience out there for all of you that are here that are watching that are wondering what the heck is going on here and what are we going to talk about today. If in the course of our conversation you have a question or John or I says something that you're like, whoa, that's not what I've heard, or a light bulb goes off or something, and you want to get in touch. Um, that is, well, here's the first way to do it right here. This is the first way to do it is if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, those are perfect places to leave a comment. So drop a comment in there. We'll get back to you. Also, this website will get you in touch with John as well. So we can talk more about that website in a minute. But I do have a question for you that I ask everybody. In the midst of everything that's happened, and we'll get into it, but in the darkest time, in the toughest time of your with the wreck and the recovery and all that stuff, how did you still maintain hope?
I think a combination of just the experience. So, my story put me basically paralyzed, and then because of I ended up a shattered pelvis and shattered back, and so I went from there to have to live in a nursing home instead of going to rehab because I was non-weight bearing. So I left with 8 weeks of time from the hospital to I could go to rehabilitation, where I just had to sit.
Mm.
And I think for me personally, my kids were 8 and 4 when the accident happened. So my resilience or my commitment at that time, my big why, if you will, was that my kids would have a dad. Initially it felt like I was just going to try to get my old life back. And, the reality was that no matter how hard I was ever going to be able to push myself, my old life was gone because of my injuries. But the idea that I had to build some sort of new life with what I was left with, and
Yeah.
primarily for the sake of my family, not, being, they were young, they had a long journey ahead of them that, I would say, thank God my kids had a dad,
Yeah.
because they very easily could have lost me that day. And so my resilience was built into this need to not want to, one, leave my family disappointed. Not that they were going to be, but I was going to be,
Yeah.
disappointed if I didn't live up to the expectations that were kind of set out for what a dad should do. And then secondly, just coming to some understanding that, I had no control over where I was going to start going forward from the accident, that
Yeah.
I could only control what I was going to take going forward. Like the accident was freak accident. It just happened.
Sure.
So for me, it was just built into this. All right, I don't have any control over where I'm starting right now. I'm paralyzed in a bed, but I still have to try to be this father, this husband, this friend, this brother, this son, and I have to figure out how that's going to happen.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, none of us really have control over where we start, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether it's after an accident or whether you're raised in an environment that's not awesome or whatever, like it's always your choice. It's always up to you where you go from there. So I love that answer. Yeah. That's amazing. So I'm guessing you don't remember a lot of what happened immediately after, but
No. So I was in a
what
coma
do you
for
remember
18 days.
anything?
So I was in a coma for 18 days. So actually in my book, the first couple of chapters of my book are actually those memories. Some of them, I mean, majority of them are really a combination of either pain induced, drug induced. When I came out of my coma, just figuring out from all the medications already in me where I was, what happened. So I always say I have memories or what I've written, but it's more like a fun house, if you will, of, call it a fun house from hell. Like literally it was just all this, experiences that probably what I remember 5 different hospital rooms. I was in two. I remember, one being in outer space. I wasn't in outer space.
Oh,
So I have these memories that I write about in the beginning of the book, but it's more a reflection on how chaotic my world was.
Yeah.
But like the very last memory I have is actually in the car, noticing that one of our ski areas in our areas was blowing snow. And we were talking about the fact that they were December 1st and they're blowing snow and we might be able to go skiing soon. The next thing is something after I wake up 18 days later.
Man. Well, and that's crazy. Well, and the thing is, so obviously in a situation like that, there's a lot of things that are visibly happening. Right? There's a lot of, like, you see, your family saw you in the hospital bed. They saw you with the injuries, with all the stuff that was going on. But there's a lot of invisible stuff going on too. I mean, you're in your head, like you're saying, with the dreams you were having and the different things you were visualizing your play itself in places you never were. Like that's got to be the tough part. Like your grasp on reality. How long did that last? Was that tough to kind of bring that back? Or was it
slowly? Because again, I was conscious for more than 24 hours before I even realized I was paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh.
Because I was hooked up to still so much equipment, and just literally, because the end of my coma, I was induced. So the medications alone to keep me in induced, I couldn't breathe on my own without a ventilator. So they didn't when I started coming out of my coma, they didn't have a choice. They had to keep me in there. And so all those medications alone that they use just to induce a coma all had to come back out of my system. So yeah, it was, it was a few days for me, so my whole family was in the car, as you mentioned. So my son, who was 4, was in for 15 days in the hospital, which is long term.
Yeah.
My wife was in for 5. My daughter was really only in for a day. And so, I had to start to comprehend, like by the time I got out of a coma, they were all back home. They were all injured, but I knew they were alive.
Yeah.
So, so I was starting to process well, okay, they're okay. My next big one was like, okay, did I cause this? By that time, the police report was finished that the other driver did die. At the scene. Now, it was 125-mile impact speed. He was also not wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, well.
So he had we all had very little chance even with the seatbelts, and he didn't wear one. So
yeah, you're sealing the deal there. Yeah, if you're traveling please wear your seatbelts, everybody.
Yeah,
public service announcement.
To this day, the idea that anyone gets in the car with me and all of a sudden I hear the dinging of the seatbelt. Now I'm like, seatbelt. Like I am the ultimate spokesman for why you need to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah.
And so my kids have never, even been through a parking lot, without wearing a seatbelt. I'll get in with somebody.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just saying, I'd get in for work, and somebody would get in with me and they wouldn't want to put their seatbelt on. I'm like, I almost died in a head-on car crash, and the seatbelt's the only reason I'm here. So I know we're only going a mile down the road, but let's.
Yeah, it's a big deal. That's instinct for everybody in my family, man. You get in a car, you click the seatbelt. That's before we leave the driveway. But I've had a lot of car wrecks when I was a kid, man. From the age of 16 to 24, I never renewed a registration. I was that guy. Within the year, sometimes it was my fault, sometimes it wasn't. But man, I don't know what it was those first few years, man. So I got really good at clicking that seatbelt, man, because you never know, because it's not always you. You got to watch out for everybody else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's my case. The car crossed the center line. We weren't doing anything. And honestly, he wasn't on drugs or alcohol. He was talking on a cell phone, he was holding it back then.
Yeah.
But something at the last second caused him to just veer over in a straightaway, and no skid marks on the road. So that's how we ended up at 125-hour impact speed. The police report had us traveling 55 and him 70. Ooh. And two objects traveling in opposite directions, you take your combined speeds. So
Man,
A little physics in there as well, but
yeah. Well, and the physics, yes, let's go down that road. Physics, I mean, your brain is cushioned in your skull with cerebral spinal fluid. You've got that fluid in there floating around to cushion your brain against minor, things. If you're,
mhm.
that's not minor. That, I mean, your brain took a beating, man. That had to have been, what was that? That must have been, what was that like? Like I'm just trying
So
to picture that.
yeah. So
That's,
the interesting part for my family is the whole time I was in this coma,
yeah.
they didn't know if I had any brain trauma. Um, my diaphragm ruptured, and so my left lung completely collapsed, and my right lung partially collapsed.
Yeah.
I had damage to my heart, so the amount of oxygen getting to my brain was that alone could have been was a concern. Then and
Yeah.
then take the concussive um, blow itself, and so until I came out of a coma, they didn't know where I was mentally.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, a huge concussion related to that, and in my life, that would have been my third. I had one in high school playing sports and one in college. So, um, you know, again, very, very blessed and fortunate that I didn't have, um, you know, significant brain trauma.
Mm.
Now add to that, you mentioned the 45 surgeries. That's been over 17 years, and 37 of them have been with anesthesia. So, I've taken significant amounts of narcotics in the beginning to deal with pain. You know,
Yeah.
the concussive effect is one thing, but then literally all the effects of the medical types of
Yeah.
procedures and having to take anesthesia a bunch, and talking about the effects of narcotics.
Huh.
It's been sort of a
Yeah.
new journey as I've been down it. Like, okay, what are some of the side effects related to what I've been through? So they're not like of my 45 surgeries, not all of them are. Some are directly related to the injuries, and some are directly
Mhm.
related to the effects of having the actual accident, like blood clots running through my legs,
Yeah.
the anesthesia, all the things that doctors would say, well, you're dealing with this now because you didn't die.
Right. Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be. Most people don't deal with this because they already passed from the
They're
actual
gone.
injuries that you sustained in the beginning. So
Yeah.
now you're dealing with the after effects, if you will, of those injuries causing you additional problems.
Yeah. Holy cow. So it's like layer upon layer. But hey, but you're alive to experience it. And so I mean it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because you're alive to experience it, but the side effects can be rough. Rough stuff, man.
Kind of how I
Um,
look at it, honestly, Jeff,
yeah.
is that, you know, the first blessing is that I was alive. And then
Yes.
everything else is sort of like I've had a lot of really kind of some really bad setbacks related to the
Mhm.
surgeries and accidents afterwards. But the reality is that none of these things have been life threatening. They've been limb threatening. I've had as high of 85% chance of losing limb.
Oof.
Um, but at the same time, now I'm just trying to, take the fact that I'm still left on this earth and then dealing with it on a, daily basis to whatever level I can that day.
Right. Exactly. Well, and we're it's always kind of a thank you, Lord, for even being here to have to deal with that, right? It's like thank you for me still being here to even deal with it. So I mean, oh man, that's awesome. It's incredible that you've survived all that. Well, I got to go to a break here because I'm out of coffee, so we need to go refill. But we're going to talk on the other side of the break about not so much about what has happened. We've covered a little bit of that, but how you picked yourself up and moved forward in the midst of that and after that, and how you're helping other people do the same thing. So I want to We're going to dive into that on the other side of the break. So we will see you in just a minute. Thank you so much for being here, John. And we'll see you in just a minute. Now, everybody, listen up. I have somebody that I need to introduce you to, and that gentleman's name is Mike, and he works with Roast to Order Coffee. Now, I've been a coffee nerd for years. Okay, I love great coffee. If a bag of coffee doesn't have a roast date within a couple of weeks of when I bought it, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I like fresh coffee. I like it done right. And they get it. Mike gets it. Okay. So they roast the beans fresh. They ship them to your door, and they are always coming up with new, amazing varieties. He listens to his customers. So for a long time, it was just beans in a bag, and you ship it. And then somebody said, hey, what about flavored coffee? Now they have flavored coffee. Hey, what about K-Cup pods? Now they have pods. You know, he listens to his customers, and they love him for it. And so they roast the bean fresh, they ship them. And whether you like Ethiopian light roast, espresso, decaf, flavored coffee, he's got you covered. If you like it in a Mr. Coffee coffee pot, if you like it in the K-Cups, you're all set. He even has e-gift cards. Okay, we're coming up on Christmas shortly. It's coming fast. For the coffee lover in your life, he has e-gift cards and coffee subscriptions. Okay, hey, if any of my family are listening, coffee subscription, please. I don't have to worry about refilling my supply. Use the QR code right here to order, and you'll get 20% off your first order. Also, I just talked to Mike today before I recorded this episode, and he said he's working on something brand new. So I'm excited to tell you about that. I can't tell you about it yet, but he's working on something brand new that he's going to push out, again, because he was listening to his customers. And so I look forward to telling you about that later. And we'll see you on the other side of this break.
Are you being priced out of healthcare? Tired of the prices skyrocketing and having to go to doctors dictated by a network? We feel your pain and have the solution, a nonprofit approach that is ethical and affordable. Take a moment to learn about a way that works better and feels better than health insurance.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
All right, we are back. Thank you, John, for being here. This is amazing. And if you didn't catch the first segment, go back and watch it because it's a story of all stories. And we're just scratching the surface. I feel like we haven't even gotten into some of it. So we'll need to tell more of it here. But what are people? I want to just touch on this real quick. This is your website. This is a QR code to make it super easy to get to your website. What are people going to find when they get there?
So a number of things. So the book is available there. The book is available all the normal book places. You'll see, we have a number of things that we're just giving away on the site. So, part of what I coach and speak about, and part of what the second part of my book is these 8 pillars for basically turning setback into success. But I would say today, I tell people it's turning setback into fuel. So we're literally just trying to take a setback and using it to propel us forward. So we give away a bunch of that information, some workbooks that correspond with the book itself that will help. All my information about my speaking, links to my YouTube channel, which just has a lot of my some segments of some of the talks that I've given, and then links to my social. We're actively posting on social all the time, from LinkedIn to Instagram to YouTube channel to all the normal sites, and we're literally just trying to give people bite sizes right now.
Yeah.
I think that is where we are as a society. I think is the bite size 2-minute group of information
I know
that you can
yeah,
implement
true.
now.
Yeah. Here's a little taste. I think I heard somewhere. I'm trying to remember an influencer that's a friend of ours, and she's got like 600,000 followers on Instagram or some crazy, or TikTok or somewhere. And she said, if you don't catch their attention in the first 3 seconds, they're gone. It's swipe. It's like, what have we become that we're that short now? Short attention span, but is what it is. But you're rolling with it, and that's awesome. And so please, yes, go to the website, order his book, read his book, check out all the social stuff. It's a story, man. I love it. I love it because of where you are now and what you're doing with it. So there's always a choice, right? Do you wallow in it, or do you move on and help people with it? And I love where you're going with it. So, I do have a question though. I mean, I haven't been through as many surgeries, and it nearly wasn't even close to as serious as what you've endured. But I've felt this myself. I'm curious, have you ever felt like you've recovered a little bit, and then it's like, oh, nope, I'm back in the back in the training again, and I gotta recover some more. And like, you think you're there, and then, but you're not, is that a continuous thing?
That has been my journey.
Yeah.
I haven't gone a year in 17 years where I didn't have at least a surgery. So some of them were pretty significant. Some of them they were unable to reattach my abdominal muscles at the time. So they had to go back about 10 months later and try to reattach them. I was back in the hospital for over 2 weeks for that, because my organs got used to being out here, and then we pushed them back into to where they're supposed to be, and they would shut down. And that, and then when they would put me together, they had to put Gore-Tex mesh in, because sections of my abdominal muscle, they couldn't stretch far enough any longer, because they had been disconnected for so long that they reticulated back. And so I'd have another surgery to go repair some of the Gore-Tex. So basically like a hernia, the same type of procedure. Just I had one giant hernia because I had no abdominal muscles. So like when they would do something like that, they would be, okay, you now have a 10-pound weight restriction for the next 6 to 10 weeks, depending on what they were doing. So I've had a number of these major surgeries in which, so part of my story is that I kind of, after 2 years, took over my own rehab, if you will. I was still in physical therapy. I was walking with a walker, could use a cane around the house to get around. If I had to travel any major couple hundred yards, I had to be put in a wheelchair because I couldn't make it that far on a walker. And I went into my local YMCA and I started working out with teens with Down syndrome. Just happened to show up the first day, and they became my workout partners, which was a tremendously positive experience, by the way. When I didn't want to be there in the mornings when my peers or people I knew were there. And they were the least judgmental humans on the face of the earth, and super positive, by the way. And so it was a very good experience. But I would, so I started rebuilding my body under my own terms, pushing myself, and in many cases accepting that I wanted to push my body and cause myself some pain, if you will, but it was pain that I had control over versus the pain I was living with chronically all the time. So if I woke up in the morning, or I went to bed at nighttime and I was in literal pain from the gym, I could be okay with that because,
Yeah.
I did this to myself, and in some way it was a positive thing. I understood that how, the physiology of it worked. I'm tearing muscles down. Those muscles are healing and rebuilding and getting stronger. And so if I feel pain, that pain is associated with something positive. Whereas the pain that I was dealing with chronically all the time, and how much, was stuff that I had no control over. So I kind of said, all right, well, I'll just keep pushing myself harder. And then I'd make these 6-month, 7-month strides in getting stronger in my bodybuilding. And then I'd have another complication related to the accident, and I would end up back having surgeries. And then the setback from that would be, all right, well, now you can't go to the gym and exercise for the next, name the number of weeks. It's always some period of time where they don't want me to put that stress on the new stent they put in my body, or, they don't want me to put all this stress against, a new internal incisions that they put in. And so I just go backwards. And, for anybody who's ever been into running or fitness or anything, those setbacks mean that you have to go back and kind of start over. It takes months and months and months to make some progress. And I always feel like you can go backwards so much faster than the work that you did to go forward.
100%. Well, and what you said something a minute ago that I wanted to say again. Like you said that there's pain that you couldn't control, but there was pain that you could control. And I can relate to that with some of the surgeries I had. I've got a 8-inch scar right up the middle of my abdomen because of an emergency surgery they had to do a few years ago. And it was, you can't blink. I swear, I'm being a little facetious here, but I feel like you need your ab muscles to do just about everything. Like you can't even blink without your ab muscles being in the mix here. So, and you didn't have ab muscles for a long time. Like they were all cut to pieces. Yeah. So there's so much. So when you can control that, and you're like, okay, I'm at a point that I can do something and it hurts. That's almost empowering. That's almost cool.
Yeah.
It's,
that's
feels
what
so
I fell
much
in love
better.
with. I mean, I fell in love with that part of it.
Yeah.
That it was just taking back some control of pain.
Totally.
And I needed to get off of narcotics because this was pre-narcotic epidemic that we now kind of live in. And so I wasn't getting pushed by my pain management doctors or anyone, but I could see, 30 milligrams of morphine didn't work. Then I had to go to 60. Then 60 didn't work because you built tolerance. And then 90. And I could just see the pattern. And I could also see the effects it was taking on everything from my overall mental health to my disposition. And so I was like, I have to get off this. And so part of that transition to get off was a combination of biofeedback and alternative pain management, and physically going in and doing the gym workouts where I could start to create positive thoughts related to pain, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'd been a marathon runner when the accident happened. So I was used to this concept of pushing your body a little farther to get better. And that type of mentality was already kind of ingrained into me, that, you could associate pushing yourself a little harder and that it's going to hurt, but the outcome ultimately should be positive.
Love that. Yeah. Because it's important. Like if you can push yourself, there's exercises that I've seen at conferences and stuff. It's like you can push yourself further than you think you can. You just have to have the right mindset,
It's challenging yourself and understanding that, there are always positive benefits out of challenge, right?
Totally.
You and I, can have the same discussion. Like the things that we went through from a health standpoint are things that have challenged us, but the alternative, is death. Number one. Number two, it's a life that you probably aren't living out. And three, I can always argue that I have learned personally more from my challenges than I have from my successes.
Yeah.
I mean, success is great, but you don't learn anything, you generally can take a whole lot of lessons out of challenges. And when you in a health challenge that keeps, extending itself year after year, you're going to learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
And learn, in many cases, a lot about other people.
Ooh, that's for sure. Oh man, ask my wife about that, man. Yeah. I mean, and other people in your house, people that that in your family and stuff. You learn about all of that. Well, I wanted to touch on something before we go to the break. We're going to go to a break in about 2 or 3 minutes here, but your book, The Upside of Down, you mentioned when we were talking before we did this episode here, you said something about the second half of your book wouldn't have been possible without going through some deeper emotional work. Like there was, you had the book but then you wrote more of it after you had gone through that, and then you released it. Tell us more about that.
So the book is 2 parts. Part 1 is more biographical. It's more about my journey from the day the accident happened through my recovery, through me becoming, this Spartan race athlete, which Spartan races are like obstacle races, to me rebuilding my body. And then, I wrote that, honestly, that was done 13 years ago,
Wow.
Finished.
Yeah.
And I, for a number of reasons, some of them being very personal family things going on, and some of it just being not wanting to write the book that my publisher at the time wanted me to write. I pulled it back and took that manuscript, but it was very much like just a documentation of my journey, what I went through. I would also say all the time that, my kids, what my wife back then would have gone, like what they all went through was a very different journey. We all went through a different journey, right?
Yeah.
But then, I've had more setbacks, more surgeries, more challenges. And so I would spend what would be the next 8 years kind of building out these principles that would more identify what I went through. In other words, they would be more like a step-by-step. And ultimately, 2 years ago, started speaking a lot more about giving people like basically a blueprint for how to handle, challenges that come your way. Call any type of setback, physical, relationship driven, job driven, and say, well, this is sort of now what I did. And, I knew I was doing those things, but I didn't give them a name. You know what I mean? So I feel like until you name something, it's just this concept, right?
Yeah.
And so over the beginning of this year, I sat down after knowing these 8 pillars that I had built out, and I wrote 10 more chapters, 21,000 words in about 7 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, I spent 2 years writing 30,000 words, and then I wrote this year in January these 8 pillars plus 2 more additional chapters that really just are a roadmap of my journey, like as far as a executionable way to go through it.
I mean, when it's impactful, man, it's like flowing right out of you, man. It doesn't take, that's awesome. Oh man, that's incredible. Well, I tell you what, I can't emphasize enough, everybody, go to the website and order the book. If that doesn't excite you to read this book, I don't know what will. We're going to go to one more break, John. And then I want to come back and talk more about your work as a coach and a speaker, and maybe a little more about the book, and just let's finish up right. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey everyone, Coach Greg here from Living Empowered TV, where we help women live empowered lives through amazing guests, life hacks, mental, physical, and emotional health. See us on the Achieve Network, 12 o'clock Wednesdays Pacific time on E360 TV. Don't miss out.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and thank you for being here, John. This is amazing. I can't thank you enough for your story, and it's so cool. And I kind of want to cap off this episode with talking about, just what's next. Like you've got as a resilience coach, a speaker, in real estate and doing. How do you maintain balance with all that? Like there's enough for somebody who hasn't gone through everything you've been through, and you're still doing so much. How do you find balance?
Leverage. That's the using the right people or tools in the right places.
Yeah.
So I have to follow my own teaching. We talk about my 8 pillars, but the very first pillar is commitment, and I talk a lot to people about commitment, and in some cases, and this happened to me, I know I should be committed to taking on something else, but I don't have the right things in place. I don't have the right bandwidth, availability. I don't have the right people. I don't have the right mindset. So for me, it's often like, okay, one, how does this fit before I commit to it? Because I don't want to commit to something I'm not prepared to follow through on. Even though I can be told, by everyone in the world, this is what you should do. I mean, look at health related things. There's most people who are making unhealthy lifestyle choices are pretty aware that they are, yet they still aren't ready to make the change, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, can I do one more thing? And then where are my holes? What do I need to fill? There are certain things, we all have things we don't like to do. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned through my journey is when I don't like doing something or I don't love it, I'm not going to succeed at it. And so, so then I need to find either a system, a person, a virtual assistant, somebody who can help me do the thing that I don't love so I can do the thing I love. Yes. But they kind of have to go hand in hand, right? So like you probably love the interview, but the editings and the prep work, sometimes it's just better to say, let me do what I'm good at and let me find somebody who loves to do the other thing. So
yes,
my 7th pillar of the 8 is my to me the most valuable thing that any person can have, and it's called falling in love with the process.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, if you can't love the process, you're never going to have the full benefit of what you set out to do.
Right.
I often use the example of athletes. You'll never see a top professional athlete who doesn't love the practice, right? It doesn't happen. If
Right.
you can't love if you can't love practice, you're never going to be great. If you can't love, parts of your job, you're never going to excel at it.
Yep.
So to me, the goal isn't so much the finish line, or this thing that you're looking to achieve. It's almost exclusively the process you go through to get to it. And, people who often have a goal related to either health or finance or relationship often feel disappointed when they actually achieve the goal, because if they really loved what they were doing in the process, then they just want that finish line or goalpost to just keep moving further away so that you just can get up every day and do it again. And
Well, that's the cool part, though. You can always move the goalpost. It's up to you. You can always do that. You should set your goal just outside your comfort zone anyway. Like, go after the goals that are outside your, shoot for the stars and maybe you'll reach the moon. Like,
Yeah.
this whole
Jeff,
thing
you'd be
about
surprised how many people
crazy.
don't see it that way. That don't see, they get so tunnel vision on this goal, and ultimately, like examples would, they're great examples. Like somebody wins the lottery, and then all of a sudden the money's gone 10 years later because they didn't ever do anything to achieve it, and so they just get the goal, they get the finish line without all of the work. Or somebody who goes through losing a whole lot of weight, but never falls in love with actually working out, having some sort of exercise routine that they like to do, or they never like the fact that they're having to watch their calories constantly, and they don't learn how to eat good, healthy, proper ways. They just, starve themselves. Right. And then they always end up back where they were because they just never, loved what they were doing. They got their goal, but then, what now I'm just going to go backwards because I never loved it.
Right. Well, and the truth of the matter is you're moving in one direction or the other. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. So you may as well master the art of moving forward, because moving backwards is never good. And
I agree. The status quo is the hardest thing to manage.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had plenty of times where I thought, you know what? I'm right where I should be health-wise. I'm right where it doesn't matter. I can't maintain it very long. It's hard. So you're right. You might as well go for it. But I would also say, when you go backwards, you also have to give yourself enough grace to say, there's a reason right now I don't have it.
Right.
And that doesn't mean I won't get it again, because I'm a perfect example of that, of something going the wrong direction, whether it's mental or physically related to the accident. And when I would get so upset with myself, disappointing myself, it just snowballed even worse. So I've learned to say, okay, I can sit and be patient.
Yep.
Be okay with the fact that things aren't going well, but understand that I have done it before, and I'm capable of moving forward when I'm ready. And so I always say patience was kind of forced on me, because I spent a total of 10 weeks laying flat on my back. I wasn't a patient person, but I was basically shoved down my throat. So I learned patience hard way. But I would also say that, when it's time to go, then I want to go 110%. Like I want to go all in to do it.
Yes.
But at the same time, I have to be okay with the fact that I don't have the right things in place. Back to this, question of commitment, and I'm just not there.
Yeah, no, it's true. God, there's so much we could dive into, but I told you this was going to be the fastest hour of your day, man. We got about, you've got about 60 seconds, maybe 90 at the most here. With that amount of time left, what would you like our audience to take away? What's the one thing you want to tell them?
So I would tell you, everyone that I talk to all the time, that it's better to be intentional than perfect.
Yes.
If you wait to have it be the perfect time or have the perfect plan or the perfect opportunity, you will be stuck. Nothing is ever perfect, but intentional is literally the path to success. I always say it's just a first step, and then it's just a series of other first steps. So, intentionality, starting, your day with this mindset that I'm going to be intentional in what I do, and I know I'm not going to be perfect. And I would always say, some days I have a perfect day, and a lot of days I have 20% of it, and it's still better than nothing. And it's still better than staying in my bed paralyzed. So that would be the one thing I would say, is just understand that intentionality beats perfect every time.
God, I love that. That's awesome. I wrote that down. When you were saying it, I wrote that down. That's fantastic. Yes. Oh, that's so perfect. Thank you. Thank you, John. I really appreciate it, man. This time has been phenomenal. So glad we were able to do this, and thank you for being here and sharing my audience and getting this amazing story out. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's all I just love when we can meet with other people and start to share.
Yes.
My other big takeaway for these types of things, I've been doing a lot of these with the book, is I would encourage your audience, if you hear something that you love, share it. Because otherwise, it's a conversation between you and I and an audience member right now.
Yes.
The three of us are having an intimate conversation. They're not getting to ask questions, but we're having a conversation. The most valuable thing is for you to take something from today and go share it with your own loved ones, your friends, your family. And now we're exponentially spreading the message.
Yes, absolutely. God, what a wonderful, wonderful statement to close it out, man. That's perfect. So thank you, man. Thank you again for being here, and stick around. Let's chat after the show we're done. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right. You bet. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. Man, you heard him. Okay. So if you're watching on any of, whoops, there we go. Hit the wrong button. Welcome to Live TV. If you're watching on any of these, speaking of reaching out, here's the place to do it right here. If you want to have a conversation, or you have a question, or you're like, oh my gosh, I missed the QR code. How do I get in touch with you? All of that, YouTube, Facebook, comment away. Thank you so much for being here. This is amazing. I couldn't do this without all of you. And I'm so thankful for my audience and for all the amazing people that have been watching for, maybe you've been with me from the beginning. Thank you. Maybe this is your first episode you're seeing. Thank you. If this has become your new favorite episode, like John was talking about, share, share, share. Everybody knows how to do that on social media. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. Join us for our next show, which will kick off December. We'll be back on Tuesday, December 2nd. Looking forward to seeing you there. Till then, have an amazing day. We'll see you soon.